Hello.
Hello.
How is everybody doing?
I'm a little confused. That was,
Why,
that was a long linger on that button just now.
I had to like mentally prepare myself.
Oh, okay. You're like, are you ready? I was like, yeah.
I had to make
You're
sure like all the others, because right before the biggest news from D23 that I was so excited for was Happily Ever After was coming back. So that's what I was like listening to. I was like getting myself pumped up for the stream.
We played the song.
Played the song.
Halfway through it, and then you cut it.
Sorry, I didn't like wind it down any, but
I know. You work on your DJ skills, sir.
yeah, well, I'll have plenty of time for that.
Hello. Everybody's in here. Welcome. It's been a week.
It has. I mean, we've had
Lots of weeks.
we have a lot of weeks that we have a lot of
We
weeks.
have a lot of weeks.
But yeah, we've been busy. We had 3 weeks in a row that we put out a podcast.
Yes, which is abnormal for us.
Yeah.
We do
And
every other week.
we haven't streamed since
We did 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago was the incident, the Spirit Jersey incident.
was it after Beth's or before Beth's?
It was before Beth's. It was
Okay.
what did we do for that one? That was our Star Cruiser one.
Yeah.
And then we did
So we didn't even talk about interviewing Beth
Oh
Rivas.
God, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
I didn't even have that in our notes.
Yeah.
I didn't even really put in the notes about interviewing Adam. I mean, we didn't interview Adam. We just kind of like
Hung out.
hung out and recorded some of it, really. And then beyond that, and the stuff that we've shared on the podcast, I went to D23.
Yeah.
I gallivanted.
You did. I didn't. I
You
stayed home.
didn't. I know. You're the best.
Hello. Bad Batch.
Bad Batch.
It's a name I haven't seen in a long time.
No.
Live Day wristbands.
See you at Ooh, I need to talk to you, Bad Batch, actually about Mosh Ice.
Dano, you like that?
Is Dano in here?
Yeah.
The thumbnail. I know. I was like, so if you see the thumbnail for it, it's me and Dano in our Oogie Boogie costumes, and then you like put the D23 background and all this stuff. I was like, you should just paste your face on Dano's body.
Well, see, then I was thinking, I was like, I could Photoshop his so his face is all one color. But then I was like,
like make him
this
purple.
is like what it was.
It was pretty good. Don, are we buffering? Hopefully. Are we going to talk about the Janice in the room? I exposed myself today in my celebrity doppelganger. I don't remember where that came from. Me looking like Janice from the Muppets. We must have been watching
It's probably when it was on ABC.
that.
Remember
or
when
like, maybe like the Haunted Mansion Muppets. I don't remember. But we saw it and we're like, that kind of looks like me. Okay, we're good. We have made some updates to the stream. Not that you would notice.
Like, I think that's one of those things that
It's just going to be like this.
it's like minor tweaks. Like we don't have, now I could like full
We
range
could
of
hold
my
hands
hands.
if we wanted.
Well, we could always do that, but I have
You
full
just
range.
refuse to hold my hand. What if we did a whole stream where you just held my hand the whole time?
We could.
But we won't. Okay. I see how it is.
But yeah, minor tweaks, always trying to improve. So after Adam's interview, I was like, we've got to make changes.
I know. So we talked about it. That was this week's episode? I know. He will not hold my hand. And
This is like the ultimate PDA.
yeah, this is out for the world to see. Imagine if I asked you for a kiss.
Oh my gosh.
You do like me though. Like, go
Yeah.
ahead and admit that you.
Yeah, I love you.
Okay.
Actually.
Me too. I love you. One of the things on the episode with Adam, we jokingly said that podcast was held together with duct tape. It was literally held together with duct tape because we have this set up for 2 people. And so when we had to put a mic stand here, we don't have like all the connections and everything to hold.
It wasn't a mic stand.
It wasn't a mic
Or it's
stand.
a mic stand for like a USB mic. So it's a different fitting.
Yeah.
If you pay attention to mics, there's like
I don't know.
different mic. But
I was like, we could just balance it. It'll be fine. And you guys were both like, no, get the tape.
well, I was saying you could just hold it, but I know you're going to pick up the touching.
I'm gonna touch all of it. So yeah, we had to do that. I think I was sitting in like a folding chair, which I mean, we're not gonna have many people.
I think that's when we need like a couch,
bench or something.
have it like where we could fold the table up and have
Well,
like
one
a
of our
couch.
friends is going to be here. Nick's going to be in town next year.
So get it ready.
And then he can tell Adam like how much better it was. But we're not kissing. That's not going to happen. So I guess let's backtrack and talk about our Beth episode.
Yeah.
So funny enough, the episodes came out. We released the one about Star Cruiser on a Tuesday.
Yes.
That next day, Wednesday, we recorded the interview with Beth and with Adam. Mm-hmm. That was all in one day.
Yeah.
And then we went to the Story of the Year show.
Yeah.
That was a day. But we had been trying to get an interview, just kind of working out the scheduling with Beth for a little while.
Yeah.
And it finally worked out. And so it was just like, it was thrilling to like talk to her about the book.
It was definitely really cool to talk to someone like in that realm of Star Wars and getting like into it with as far as stories. And I definitely wanted to just like keep talking to her and just talking about the story, like her story in particular, not any other stories, but just like the little things that we noticed. I wanted to be like, oh yeah, like this part was really cool. This part was really cool. So that was like the heart. And then I'm trying to be cool and not a fangirl and stuff.
We were
but
like beforehand. But the other thing is she had mentioned other books and things that she pulled research from for writing The Princess and the Scoundrel. And so that got me excited. Like, oh man, we should start reading these because.
So I don't know. I guess it's spoiler. Like, can we talk about the book? I don't know.
I wouldn't.
Go read it. Please go read it.
Or listen. If you're anything like
yes,
Steven, just go
listen to it. Just listen to it.
It's fine.
Hey, Danny.
Hello.
But there's like a really cool, like, I don't know if it was intentional or not. Like an Easter egg callback type of thing.
What are you talking about? Do you want to whisper it to me?
No.
Why? Because you don't want me close enough to kiss you?
No, I just don't want to. Oh. If they can't know what it is, you can't know what it is.
Okay, fair enough.
But it's a cool little thing that I kind of like thought, is that like an Easter egg or just like a happy coincidence type of thing?
I think the other part of interviewing Beth is she's just as excited about it.
Yeah.
And like just as big, or if not bigger of a Star Wars fan than we are. So just getting to talk to her about wanting to have written this story since she was a little kid. And this is like a lifelong dream of hers. That was cool. Yeah. It was like, go girl, you fulfilled that dream.
I think the part where she's a real author, like a real person, right? Not playing pretend, but
not
she's
us, like writing an ebook or something and publishing it ourselves
that's
on
like
Amazon.
Legit like books. So, and not just one, it's like multiple
books.
So I think that was like super cool.
That was really neat. So we had that interview fairly early in the morning that day. And then Adam showed up and we recorded later that afternoon. He was supposed to show up earlier, but he's a rock star. So
true rock star fashion.
True rock star showed up hours later than he was going to. So we had to figure out getting this setup going. Yeah. And then
which we set it up pretty quick. I think
it wasn't bad.
I think the part that kind of was a damper was me having to leave halfway through.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like,
and I think that was just a timing thing.
It was just timing. It was kids. But yeah, I mean, I wish you had been here for the whole one because I like talking to you.
Yeah,
it was a little.
I want to say, I think
God,
the portion of the podcast that I was in, I think was the better half of it. So I don't know. You let us know what part of it was the better part. But I think it was like really good. Like I was so.
I am cackling because I've heard this nonstop since we recorded that.
If no one else is gonna talk me up, I have to do it.
I talk you up all the time. All the time. I did an appreciation post about you yesterday.
That was nice.
That
was so sweet of you.
We are not, as you can tell, we don't even hold hands.
Oh my God.
No, but we're not like lovey-dovey. affectionate people. You don't
Okay.
like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going.
You are not lovey-dovey affectionate people, and I have learned that you are very much like a cat. And so I should not approach you if you do not want to be approached.
I think that's a good assessment.
Right?
Yeah.
But we're also just not like really, we don't show that kind of appreciation on, like, I don't post about you on your birthday or our anniversaries usually or anything. Like, we don't go above, like.
Speaking of birthdays, Dano just had his birthday.
I know, he's so old.
Don't say that.
Is he older than you?
Yeah.
How old are you?
They're right there behind him. So.
Yeah, you're right behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's old, man.
So.
He's old man.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dano.
You get a birthday.
Are we discussing like love languages? What is your love language? What do you like?
I want to. We looked into this, right? It's one of those things like I like you around, but not like.
No, that's the Is it ADHD?
It's like,
I think it was an ADHD thing.
Well, there's that too.
Where it was like people mirroring. Like when you're really stressed out about something, you just want me to be like near you so I can like pull some of that. Like I can push some of my positive energy onto you.
Yeah.
Something like that. Because anytime you get really worked up, I'm like, I'll just sit here on the couch on my phone and just like make some small talk with you.
Yeah, no, it's. But I think it's like it was like a combination of. Because I mean,
I forget the love languages.
Were there 5?
There's like touch, words of affirmation, gifts. It's definitely not touch.
Help us out.
I know it's not touch. That's for sure. Quality time? I think yours is quality time.
Okay. That's
not quantity time.
That's probably what it is. Quality time.
It's you do sound like a cat as we're sitting here describing you. We like to hang out together.
Yeah.
I'm more like puppy energy. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, no. Okay. So like a perfect example is when I'm working on the podcast, I'm doing my editing and stuff like that. I want you around to just kind of be my muse, but don't say anything.
Yes, very much so.
Don't distract me.
I'm like, oh, but shouldn't you? And you're like, no. Like, okay. I know, and I'm trying to get to more of that where I can sit with you.
Yeah.
More.
Well, the funny thing is when we moved into our house, if you recall how long ago that was,
a long time ago.
I had
God.
But I had a quote unquote office. Like this is where I had my computer and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then I had like my 3D, like kind of the workroom, which we shared because it was like
it was like our craft room.
A craft room.
Yeah.
And then it slowly turned into my craft room because I did more of the crafty stuff.
That's where you built BB was in the craft room.
And then your crafts went to the office space.
Yeah.
And then I moved into kind of the little whatever room this is, extra room.
It's like a bonus room.
And made it like a streaming area for me. And it was my computer.
You've got areas.
Yeah.
It's a multifunction.
Well, I mean, it's like all moved up here, but now it's like if you are going to have a computer, it's probably going to be nicer to have it near us.
You're talking about...
So it's going to turn into like a full office.
You're talking about me getting a computer. You kind of jumped. We're talking about me getting a computer because I have like a really old laptop that I run all of my travel agent stuff off of. It's all saved in the cloud. So if you are one of my clients, do not fear. Your stuff is safe. But my laptop like just randomly crashes. And it is old. It's probably 6 years old at this point.
And then I just want to build a computer.
And you just want to build a computer. And so when I said...
Graphics cards are so low right now.
God. But when I said I was trying to work on spending more time near you editing the podcast, I just literally meant like slowing down on my travel agent work so I could spend the time up here. Not you building the PC up here. Oops, sorry. It's two different things.
Completely read that wrong.
Completely read that wrong.
I need to cancel an order real quick.
Oh my God. You need to... Yes, your information is safe. Actually, Danny, I need to talk to you in like the next couple days. You'll be getting an email from me soon. Just know that. But yes, you want to build me a PC because I complain. The other day I was like, don't move my mouse.
And all I did was move the mouse.
Because I was like moving it and the little cursor was like, and then you did it to Dreamlight Valley.
I did.
You absorbed my,
No, I think
my laptop's problem.
See, we could talk about
You glitched out.
I did glitch the game, but we could talk about that after.
Talk
But
to
no,
Rich
like right
about
now,
PC building.
yeah.
There you go. Could have build parties.
Yeah, build one
Another
together.
one. Oh my god.
We'll see. So the part of it, we're going like way off track right now.
We have not touched a single thing on my list.
But we're gonna talk about PC. Like this is.
No. I thought we
So
were
I have-
past that.
I have my PC. My old PC went to my son or our son.
Yeah, he's mine too.
It went to our son. So we're looking at possibly building a new PC. And I'm like, well,
We are
you
looking
can't have
at-
a better one than mine.
Oh my god.
I'm putting this bad boy together, so I'm gonna have the fastest one.
That's what we should do. Is I build. That's a live stream idea right there. Is I build the PC. You can't touch it.
I would be
and you
a mess. I would be a complete mess from
I'd be
like start
Is it
to
righty tighty lefty?
gosh, like from beginning to end would be like my worst. That's like my worst nightmare. My worst nightmare. And then, I can't even think about it because it gets me chills.
Oh my
But
god.
yeah, just recently there's like a bunch of news on PC stuff, and you know the graphics card market has been like actually something that we could afford now.
Well,
It's
it
not
was
hard
like
to
a year,
get.
Yeah, a year ago.
It's
A
because
year to 2
crypto
years ago.
went down. So,
Oh.
and then,
Supply chain
but yeah, like
issues.
recently there was news that EVGA is not going to be making graphics cards. So this is like
This
it's
is
probably all
a,
Greek to you.
YouTube channel about Disney and Star Wars, sir, and Disney parks.
But-
we are not going to talk about Nvidia and EVGA and the tension between them and the culture
No,
differences.
no, they're done.
and-
They're ending after this next.
Oh my god!
So,
I've already heard
40
about
series
it
are
once
done.
today. I wouldn't-
Anyways, where were we at? Dreamlight Valley. Have you played it? It's on the Nintendo Switch, PC, PlayStation 2?
Question? I don't know where all this. You
I love the
it
game.
Came out
Yeah, D23 came out or that
yeah,
that weekend.
That weekend. And you made your avatar look like me.
Yeah, I missed
Yeah.
you. But no, I played it on the Switch.
He said with such adoration. Yeah, I missed you.
I was playing it on the Switch, and come to find out, like the Switch is not that powerful. So it had a bunch of bugs at the beginning, so it would just restart. And I think I fully bugged it out because now that my village has a bunch of stuff, it just won't run. It's like a complete slug. So I don't know what I'm gonna do.
It's funny you say slug after we watched those trailers earlier. The proud
Yeah.
family with her slugs on her eyes. So wait, what other systems can it be played on?
I think you play it on PC and stuff. So
Oh,
hopefully I could.
I like you playing it on the Switch though, because you're downstairs and
Yeah.
I can fall asleep watching you multiple times.
Well, I can get one of those. I think it's an NVIDIA, like a cast.
Oh,
So I basically could play games off
like
my
the Perfect
PC.
Cast?
I don't remember what it's called, but
That was a goofy movie
oh,
joke.
okay,
Your favorite?
yeah.
Yeah, I think both times I've sat down to watch you play it. I love watching it. I think it's great. I would love to play it myself. I've fallen asleep both times.
Yeah, it's
I've been a sleepy girl
It's,
this week though. Like
a super easy game. I think that's the thing. Is like there's not.
it's chill.
Yeah, it's not competitive or anything like that. It's just doing some farming.
I like it. It's like I guess it's like Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
I never played Animal Crossing, so you're trying to explain to me. I
Yeah.
was like, is this like WoW?
No. I mean,
I
there's-
know because you're
there's-
going and doing missions. And then you
Yeah,
have to
there's no
get
PvP part of it
resources
though.
and-
So
Right, dude. I've been so tired this week. I guess because like I went really hard last weekend. Like I feel bad for my sister. Like, here we go. Let's segue. I feel really bad for my sister-in-law because I went with my sister-in-law to D23. We met up there. She was going from she lives in New England. We flew over there, met together. We were going to do a day at Disneyland, 3 days of D23. And then the next day she was going to do Disneyland and then take a red eye that night and go to Disney World for a training for a week. And so she's still at Disney World right now.
that's nuts.
I know.
She's gonna be tired.
Exhausted. But she was, because she knew that she still had over a week of trip left, she was like pacing herself.
That's good.
Where I was like, nope, this is it. I'm going to go out and party. So pinky out. Oh no, is my pinky out when I'm drinking? Gotta watch myself now. But yeah, I went hard. So we can talk about, I guess let's start with D23 and then we can talk about some of like the extracurriculars like Disneyland, Oogie Boogie Bash, those types of things.
Yeah.
So D23 was 3 days. There was basically like one big panel each day. The first day had the Disney Legends panel where they inducted new legends into their Hall of Fame. I don't know what it is, but they talked about that. I missed that one because I had an issue with my badge. Oh, I should have my pinky out. Gotcha. I probably do. I had an issue with my badge, and you knew this. What you could do for D23, just like with Celebration, is you got to sign up for a lottery and pick the panels that you want. And you either got picked or you didn't get picked. And everybody that had a badge could do this. They could do it for one person and a guest. So because it was me and my sister-in-law, we could have like hedged our bets or like doubled down on the big panels. I go to log in and do my panels and blank screen. I was like, well, what do I do? So I try incognito mode. I try restarting my computer. I try clearing my cache. I try doing all
And these are all things that they like when you called, like, hey.
Well, I had already done it because
Okay.
I was like, well, it's a Disney website, and I know how I work with Disney websites all the time, and I know all of the tricks to get it to work. So yeah, I emailed them, and this was still when the panel selections were open. They say, have you tried incognito mode? Have you tried clearing your cache? I'm like, yes, I have. They're like, oh, okay, I said, yes, I have. They reply back, oh, we redid something. Clear your cache again. Try incognito mode. Okay, do it again. Probably 20 emails back and forth. And they were like, oh, we're so sorry. You know, and we would escalate a little bit, and then it would get to, have you tried incognito mode? Have you tried clearing your cache? I'm like, oh my God, I have. And so finally, it got to a point, and they were like, we are so sorry this has happened. By that point, panel selections had been closed for like over a week. I was like, what can we do? Like, is there any kind of
'Cause you're
resolution
gonna go
here? Because I'm going to go and not get into anything. And they were like, give us a call. And I was like, that's not documented, okay? And so I called them, or they said, you know, give us your number or whatever, we'll call you. So they called, and they said, we're so sorry for this issue. We will give you and a guest access to one panel per day of your choosing. I said, cool. How do we set that up? Do you just assign it to my badge? They said, no, you're going to do it when you get to the convention. I'm like, okay, where do I go? And they're like, you go to guest relations. I said, okay, where? And they were like, in the convention. I was like, it's a big convention. It's Anaheim Convention Center, same place Celebration was. Anyway, we get in the first day, try to get there before the first panel starts because we're like, oh, we already have passes for the big panel that afternoon, which was the Disney and Pixar panel. Let's try to get into this Legends panel. It took 2 hours of running around the convention center to try to find the actual guest relations because they made us queue up in the basement. We didn't need to queue up in the basement. And then they made us go from here to there, to here, to there, to there. It was a whole thing. Anyway, we didn't get into the first one, but we were able to get into the panel that afternoon and watch the Disney and Pixar presentation, which was really cool.
From what you said, or like what I've seen, they seem to have been a lot longer. Like, whereas like other cons, they're shorter, like specific to one thing or one and like an extra thing.
Yeah.
And this one seemed like it's Pixar and
because it was like
whatever.
Disney,
it's like all of it.
Pixar and then Walt Disney Animation, which I didn't realize were different. I didn't realize Disney and Walt Disney Animation were different things.
Shame.
What's the difference?
Disney Animation?
Oh, I guess it's animation versus live action.
Well, no, because now it's like, it used to be the animation, but now it's just the different Pixar movies and the...
No, I know the difference between Pixar and Disney, but I guess it was like live action Pixar and then Disney animation.
Okay.
Right?
I wasn't there, so I don't know.
I was.
I don't know.
How it went. But all of the panels went over. All the major panels went over at least 30 minutes. The one on Saturday went over almost an hour, and we'll get to that one. But oh yeah, there were some weird things that they like gave away. It was very strange. Yeah, see, I don't know. It's very strange the way they did it. Pixar Animation, Disney. I know that those are separate, but I guess I didn't think about like Disney having like an animation arm and a live action studio arm. I didn't think they had 2 arms, but they do. So they showed, for live action, they showed things like The Little Mermaid. So exclusive to D23, we got to see the entire Part of Your World sequence, which has just been done. It was, her voice is amazing. Like, so good. I don't think a single person in there didn't like at least get chills. But I think like all of us were like, had chills and were crying because she crushed it. And then they bring her out after they showed that, and then they showed the little teaser that they released online. So that was cool. They're going to do a Mufasa story.
This one, when you were telling me about it, I thought that was kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. So he's an orphan. He's not. Did you know that?
Well, that's what you were saying.
Oh,
I don't know.
I told you.
Can you talk about that stuff? I guess.
Yeah, we can talk about it, but I can't.
We can't show stuff.
I mean, I can tell you what I saw, but it just looked like I don't even really remember.
I think it's an interesting take on the Lion King franchise. Now, I don't know about it being the live action. I'm not crazy about that. And I know you don't like the talking animals.
Ugh, I cannot stand talking animals.
I'm not sure about that, but it was okay. I thought you got the feel for it.
Yeah. So the story is, it's Timon, Pumbaa, and Zazu. No, Timon, Pumbaa, and Rafiki telling Mufasa's story to a young lion cub. It made it sound like the young lion cub was somebody that we should know about. So I'm assuming it's like Simba and Nala's son, but wasn't that in like Lion King 2 or something?
1.5. No,
was it 1.5. There was.
Well, I don't remember what.
There was 1.5 and there was 2.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But anyway, that it's about Mufasa's origin story. He was an orphan, and it reminded me of that. Was it National Geographic one we watched about lions, where basically like if you are a male cub, once you're old enough to survive on your own, you're kicked out of the pride and you're forced to survive on your own. So I think it's probably that story. But then somehow Scar comes into it, but they didn't show Scar at all.
Maybe because that's the other thing is I think from that documentary, if I recall, it's they form their own pack to kind of just survive. So maybe that's why his brother.
How Scar gets in with the hyenas, because the hyenas, don't they try to eat the lions? It was a really good documentary. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, in the documentary.
Yeah, in the documentary, not in the. Well, the lions do try to eat the hyenas try to eat the lions in the movie. But anyway, I digress. It's another live action.
Kira's daughter, so maybe. We'll see.
I can't do talking animals, Bad Batch. It's unnatural, and I don't like it. Ever since Babe, like as a kid, like I never watched Babe.
But see, that was like,
weirded me out.
What was the horse one? But they used to put like peanut butter in his mouth to make it just like.
Oh, Mr. Ed?
Mr. Ed, yeah. Like that was like that talking where it was just like someone talking, like a voiceover, and just like the animal moving its mouth,
I don't like
as
it.
opposed to. Well, what about Homeward Bound?
I never watched it.
They were talking, but you just like heard what's in their head. So the dogs were just.
So it was like Twilight.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Oh.
I mean, that was a good one. That's childhood right there.
Twilight?
No,
That's pretty good.
Homeward Bound.
No. I don't know. I can't. I don't like it. We watched Lion King, the live action. It's not even live action. It's all CG.
Yeah.
One time. And we're like,
I mean, I think I like the animated.
Good. Yeah, we just prefer the animated. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But so they showed Mufasa. They showed Hocus Pocus 2. And they didn't have a lot of the way that the panels worked. And I don't want to like go through every single thing because that's boring. But the way that the panels worked is that they would have whoever was the head of that studio come out. And so I don't know who's in charge of, I don't remember the guy's name that was in charge of Disney. He would come out and he kind of just like ran or emceed that portion of it. And so they would talk about whatever film or show they had in the works, bring out the director or the cast. They would talk about it a little bit, and then they would show either a trailer that got released to everybody or a sneak peek that was exclusive to the people in the room at D23. And then it was repeat and repeat. Or if there was a song, like When You Wish Upon a Star, they opened with When You Wish Upon a Star from the new Pinocchio movie, and they had the fairy godmother come out and sing that. So that was cool.
Yeah.
So they had a few songs, and then they would go to the next one, and then they would go to the next one. So like Disenchantment, they brought out the whole cast.
Dempsey with his
silver fox. I was like, all of us were the whole group that I was with. We were like, good Lord. But it was cute. They had
that's not even silver. That's like white.
White. Like, I don't even know.
That's like
that's beyond a zaddy at that point. Like, what is he?
Oh my gosh.
It was beyond, because in the movie he has salt and pepper hair.
No, he has more like
hair
pepper.
Like me,
no,
more pepper.
it was more pepper than. But now it's like Papa.
White Papa. Is that what we call
him? You are
him?
like Papa. Yeah.
Is that what we're gonna call him?
Yeah.
That's
I mean, it's
beyond
white.
a zaddy is a Papa. You heard it here. But that was cute. They had the whole cast come out. Maya Rudolph and Amy Adams did a little skit that they were late because they were at Disneyland, and they have like the ears and the bubble wands.
They were in Disneyland though, or I saw like things of them being.
They might have
VIP'd.
actually been there because they had like the hands. She had like a light up wand and a bubble wand, and she's like, "Oh no, this isn't mine." And it was a Elsa wand, and she hands it to Idina Menzel.
Oh, okay.
And Idina was like, "What?" It didn't look like that. I mean, it was all scripted, but they did a good job of playing it off. They did that. What else did they do for Disney? Oh, that was in the Disney animated one. So we can talk about the Disney animated one a little bit. They are, because it's 100 years of animation, they're doing a new intro for all of the movies that are going to be coming out. And there's cute little Easter eggs for like the lanterns from Rapunzel and Pride Rock in the background and the Matterhorns in the background and like all these little things that was really just neat little.
I think the thing on that is, other than that venue, it's not going to be as appreciated.
Yeah.
Because like there is so much there, you're kind of like, oh yeah, look at that. But
they played it twice for us because they were like, we know you guys like this stuff.
but in like if you're watching a movie, Disney Plusing it, it's not gonna. You're gonna fast forward past that part and just do they? I don't even know if they even play that.
They do.
Because I know in the old
but you
the
just
VHS
like block
and
it
DVD,
out,
yeah.
kinda, yeah. But yeah, so they showed the new intro, and then they did because it's 100 years of animation. They wanted to do something really special for that movie. I don't think it's going to come out next year, which is when the 100 years would be, but they're announcing it, and it's called Wish. Disney's Wish. Not about the cruise ship. But they were like, what is something that is central to a lot of Disney movies, especially animated movies?
So is this going to be like they got jealous of the Pixar theory of having how like it connects, and so they're going to say this is our Nexus movie that connects all of our
and then the multiverse happens. It might be, because the common thread between animated Disney movies is that they wish upon a star. And so Wish is about the star and how the star came to be. And it's about Asha, who lives in this town called Rosa, I think. Trouble ensues. She needs help. She wishes upon a star, and then the star like comes down from the sky and is like the cutest little like chibi. Oh, it's so cute. It's like a little anime star with like a little wink. It's the cutest thing. But it was still early on, so they showed us a lot of like really rough animations,
like concept
on it.
and stuff like that.
And they bring out like there's like a goat that's going to be in there, and they showed a lot of stuff on it, but essentially it's like a story about the wishing star. And then I think they had a song. Did somebody come out and sing the song for that one? And that was how the whole thing ended that day. But in the middle of it, they had Pixar. They announced Inside Out 2, and they said it's still Riley, and she's a teenager, so she's in the throes of puberty.
The interesting thing is there's new emotions.
New emotions. Because remember, at the end of Inside Out, they got the new control panel. They're like,
so
what
is it like
button
mixed?
do?
I don't know.
I'm assuming like not lust, because that's weird, but like puppy love type of emotions. I don't know, I loved Inside Out, so I'm excited for that one. And then they showed one called Elemental, which is about it's in a town that's made of water, and one of the main characters is Wade, and he's made of water, and then the other character is made of fire, and her name is Ember. And they fall in love, but they can't meet they can't touch, because if they touch, they would extinguish one another. And so it was telling the story of that. So again, a lot of concept art and some kind of animation tests and things like that. But it was cute. And then they had, because it was fire and water, they literally had water, like a rain sheet of water on the stage, and then fire on the other side of the stage. And then they had the characters come out, and they had a scream off.
Like a haka type thing, or
no, like a everybody on the left side of the stadium. My favorite.
Okay.
Like, how's it going, D23 Expo? Like, don't make me scream because you said the location we're in. I don't like that.
Oh, Danny, I love watching.
We watched Pixar Theory a lot.
Yeah. And you see each new movie, how are they going to do it? It's the is it Carson Brothers?
Something like that. They're brothers.
Yeah. Well, I think so.
I think it starts with a C.
Yeah.
Carlin?
I don't know. Carlin Brothers. Yeah, it's their theory. Well, not theirs, but they. But yeah. Oh man, that Pixar Theory gets you going.
I know.
But then what was it? Day 2?
That was day 2.
Or that was day 1.
That was day 1, and then day 2. The first panel was the Lucasfilm, the Marvel, and then Fox. So all 3 of those huge. Lucasfilm had an entire, not even Lucasfilm, Star Wars within Lucasfilm had an entire 4-day convention dedicated to it. And it got lumped in.
Well, see, and this is where we were kind of debating on how to discuss D23 and how, if we wanted to talk about kind of comparisons.
Yeah.
It almost seemed like when you were telling me about it, it just seemed so jam-packed, which is nice because it's just a ton of information.
D23?
Yeah, D23 is just jam-packed full of stuff, but you don't really get to appreciate any particular thing. Whereas it's, Star Wars is you have 3-4 days of just all right, I'm gonna go check out this, I'm gonna go check out that, and
it was a little bit like that, especially the panels. I'd never done anything like those big panels before. And whenever we go to the movies together and you're like, what'd you think of that? What'd you think of this part? And I'm like, did that happen?
I'm gonna look this way, drink my coffee.
Because so much happens that I can't process all of it. My little brain moves too slow. And so that's what it felt like. With the panel, I didn't take notes that first day. And so I was like, that was a lot. And I couldn't remember all of it until I heard other people talking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, Wish and Little Mermaid and all these things. And then the second day was Lucasfilm. So I was texting you everything Star Wars. And I was like, oh my God, Andor. Oh my God, Tales of the Jedi. Oh my God, Skeleton Crew. And I would just rip off a quick text. Okay.
Well, see,
done.
I think it was whenever you would say something, I'm like, okay, no, I'm seeing it already. I'm seeing something on it. So
I was like, okay, fine.
You don't have to tell me.
I think after Star Wars, I was like, okay, bye.
Danny, you're nuts. If you're literally just going to be saying titles of movies and the one connecting thread between it.
Oh my gosh.
Did you get to see Walt's plane?
I did. Kitra was in here. I was telling you earlier because we were watching the video where Kitra put me on blast in our shenanigans that we had that day. But we were walking the show floor and we were close to Walt's plane. And Peter and Kitra were like, have you seen Walt's plane yet? And Dano and I were like, no. And they're like, okay, we'll show you. And so we walked in there and they're like, that's it. It's a plane. That's it. And we're like, oh, okay. And walked out. So we didn't stop and take a picture or look at any of the other stuff, but
you saw
can confirm it is a plane. It was a plane inside. How'd they do that? They had to disassemble it. How'd they get the plane over?
It's been
it was in Hollywood Studios.
Okay. I was like, it's been somewhere just kind of sitting around. So.
But yeah, that was my story about Walt's plane. I saw it. It was a plane. I might have taken a picture of it. We weren't in there that long. But hello. We So yeah, the Lucasfilm thing that kicked off the panel for that day. So we got the final trailer of Andor, which came out for everybody. They told us it's going to be 24 episodes, 12 in the first season, 12 in the second season, and that's it.
So they just talked about things that are coming out.
They didn't really announce anything new.
Yeah.
So it was...
I'm surprised they didn't say anything about Ahsoka. Like, that's where I was kind of like...
They did talk about Ahsoka, and they showed us a couple of pictures.
So Celebration still got a better...
We didn't get I don't think we got a video. I don't remember. We got like stills. I think we got 3.
Somebody, please tell me,
Kid,
Sarah.
are you in here? I think we got 3 stills. And so we got one of her close up. She looks great. We got one more, and then we got the picture of her in front of that tapestry at the very end of Rebels.
Oh,
but it's like
the
very
father,
far distance, yeah.
Father, son.
And that was it. Yeah, Celebration got a teaser. We didn't get a teaser. So that was it.
Yeah, I don't know.
They didn't really do a lot on Lucasfilm. They showed the trailer for Tales of the Jedi, which is out. They showed a picture of Jude Law and Skeleton Crew, and like Jude Law came out and talked about it.
So that wasn't
briefly.
That's
but
not
like,
officially out, but I saw like
yeah, it's literally a picture of Jude. Like,
yeah,
you cannot tell that was Star Wars. You're like, oh, Jude Law's in a new movie. Cool. And then what else did they show? They just announced the Bad Batch, which was initially going to... So Andor was supposed to come out in August. It got pushed to September. Bad Batch was supposed to come out in October. It got pushed to January.
Yeah. Which I'm okay with. I'm honestly okay with them pushing back, because that just means that there's just them making sure this
continuous stream of Star Wars.
Well, it's just they're working on the story, right? They're making sure not to just pump it out where we're just grossed and we're over it type of thing.
Yeah. We don't want fatigue.
Yeah, we don't get fatigue. So,
but
we want it.
But they didn't show us anything for Bad Batch. They literally just talked about it. They didn't even flash up a picture.
Which, again, Celebration,
like,
they got a little bit.
The one thing I wanted to see Ahsoka, and I wanted to see Bad Batch.
Yeah.
We got nothing. We got 3 pictures of Ahsoka. So that was a little sad. And then the last thing that they gave us was the Mandalorian trailer, which that one's out too. You can see it. It was really good. Later, Dano, have a good evening. It's still early over there for you. Yeah, people are saying that Andor is amazing, and it's way more like a intense movie than a show. I love the volume. Mando's like, they've worked on the volume, but Andor is supposed to be more like in real world. Is it shot in the volume?
There's probably scenes,
some of it, right?
But I think they're all, it's shot out.
Yeah.
So like there's real sceneries and stuff. So again, it's nice that they're doing things differently. Just trying to figure out that story. Like, what is it going to be? Because we already know where the ending's at. Like, kind of how are they going to get to it type of thing. So
we're only getting 24 episodes. That's what they said. And they said there's going to be time jumps. But the interesting thing, Nick was really big on this today, like he would not let it go today, is that the actress that played Enfys Nest was at the premiere yesterday. And so he like texted the actress's name. And I'm like, somebody fill me in. I don't know who that is. And they're like, it's Enfys Nest. And I was like, oh. I was like, it could work. Right?
So
there you go. We'll know Wednesday.
We'll see.
Or a following Wednesday. Yeah, she's in Willow. So they did do Willow.
That one looks really cool. I saw the trailer for it. And again, I'm a kid of the 80s. I watched Willow. Watching this one, it wasn't the same Willow. Like I was...
made me go... We went back and watched the original.
Because you were like, trailer. Oh, wow, this is like really... I was like, this is not the same Willow. But this one looks super cool. I think because it is just that... It feels like an old school fantasy feel to it. Like there's just like that. It's kind of feels like a D&D. Like they have the different heroes. One, the mage, the warrior type. Like it's really cool. I'm kind of excited for it. So
excited for it. So that one was cool. They had the whole cast out for that one, and then the other thing that Lucasfilm did was Indiana Jones. and they brought out Harrison Ford. And I lost it. Oh my God. I got to breathe. I mean, the room, it wasn't even a room. It was one of the show floors. It was one of the halls that they converted into fit like, I think 7,500 people seated in there. It was massive.
So I'm getting text messages from you, and you're saying Lucasfilm, and you're crying. You know, you said, "Oh, you know, I'm crying over here," and I'm like, "What?" Like, of the stories that I know of Lucasfilm, like, there's nothing that's gonna make you tear up.
Well, I cried when I saw Baby Ahsoka because I was like, "Oh my God!"
But I was like, I don't understand. And, you know, of course, I'm on, you know, on TikTok, on Instagram, like looking for what like the newest thing, and they show Harrison and his like little speech, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what she's crying about. But that was
This time.
well, but I was like, that's so I unexpected, because the
Nobody
way
expected that.
like the way he kind of portrays himself is like real hard, and it just, I would like, if you would have told me, I would have been like,
gruffy.
that's BS.
Yeah, I know. I posted a reel of it. I was like, oh my God. I was like, so it was Harrison Ford. So I was kind of like, oh my God, I have to record it. And thank God I did, because I caught his whole thing on camera, and I like spliced it together and posted it later. But I think Indiana Jones was like his true passion project, and it's over. He's done. And they showed the trailer for that. Amazing. They haven't released it yet, but it looks like an Indiana Jones movie. Like, if you just like brought an Indiana Jones movie into this day and age, and he's like 30 years older, but it looked amazing.
Yeah.
It looked
Have you
really
seen
good.
Crystal Skull?
Is that the one with Shia LaBeouf? You only want to see that together. You used to love Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, yeah.
Before. So yeah, we saw that one with the aliens, man.
Yeah. Oh,
There was no Shia LaBeouf in
I was
this
like,
one, I
it's a
can tell you.
very weird movie. It went a very weird direction. So
I'm pretty sure they're just going to be like, that didn't happen.
it was
The
all
aliens-
a dream. It was.
Yeah, we're not getting Shia LaBeouf back. Sensitive sleepy girls. That's us. But yes, it was just seeing him emotional, just like. And then they moved to Marvel. There was a lot. I don't remember all the stuff
They talked
did.
about I think the big thing that I heard from the outside was the Rogers musical. That was like a big.
Well, okay, so funny enough, we were in line. Sorry, I cut you off again. We were in line behind people, and they were like, "We haven't done a panel. What are these about?" And I'm like, "Well, the one yesterday, they had like musical numbers. Like, they would sing a song, and they would show a trailer, and they would bring out the characters." And I was like, "But this is like Lucasfilm and Marvel, so they're not going to be singing any songs in this one." I literally said that. And then we go into it, and Marvel kicks off, and Kevin Feige was like, "Everybody else gets to sing these songs and do all these cool musical numbers." He's like, "It's really not fair." He's like, "So." And as soon as he said so, everybody was like, "It's happening." It was like 7 or 8 minutes. It was so long.
Later.
Yeah.
Later, bye bye.
Oh, good night.
The multiverse.
But yeah, it was hilarious.
So there's, of the Marvel stuff, I think it's more of just continuing that story, trying to figure out like now the direction that this next phase is going. I think right now my next movie that I'm excited for is Black Panther, or
Wakanda
Forever. So I think that's the next one. I'm just like trying to figure out like where like what's the story, because like when you were telling me about like how they had the kind of the little scene, the trailer, or not even a trailer,
It was a
like
sneak peek.
yeah.
They showed us an extended scene.
So I was just trying to figure out like how it's gonna fit into the story, and
Yeah. That extended scene was better than the trailer. And the trailer was amazing.
the trailer's
Like, we watched that trailer
really,
multiple times.
yeah.
That scene, I was like, put it on now. I will sit here. I do not need a bathroom break. I will watch this right now.
Yeah,
And I
that's-
really needed to pee by that point. So that was saying something. It was really good. They brought out the cast. That looked cool. But I think the big movie in the next phase, like I think closing out this phase, is Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. So they brought out Kang. They brought out Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the kind of the start
catalyst for
everything.
yeah. So they brought them out. Got to see Paul Rudd in person. Oh my god! And even with Lucasfilm,
So Marvels, Thunderbolts. I know that was mentioned.
Thunderbolts, Marvels, or the Marvels.
Yeah.
I didn't see that picture.
I saw them talking to each other. Basically, like Bree's asking her.
The little girl that played Miss Marvel was so cute. She was so nervous.
So.
What was she asking her?
She was asking her, like, is there any comics that she needs to be, like, catch up on type of thing? Like, she's asking her, the little girl, like, story that she probably needs to know.
That's cute. Miss Marvel, or the Marvels sneak peek was really cute. That one looks like a good movie.
So.
And then Monica Rambeau is the third Marvel.
Yeah.
And she was, like, the actress is just a delight. Like, she was, like, amped. So that one was a really good piece of the panel. What else? They're doing Marvel, and I think it was Marvel, and there's another. No, that was Disney. Never mind. There's a
Iman. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. The Marvel panel was really good, but the thing is, it's like Star Wars is kind of all connected, but you and I are very plugged into Star Wars, whereas we're not as plugged into Marvel. So when they're showing me all these things, I was kind of like, that's cool. Ironheart was another one they showed.
That one, I think that one could be cool because, again, it's the Iron Man. Again, we know of her story, but it feels like playing Pokemon. Like, I know the original 150, but when they start getting into the new stuff, I'm like, I don't know any of these. Like, I think I've seen that one before.
Yeah,
and
that's kind of how it
like I feel like I'm starting to get lost in the Marvel because I'm just more because there is a bunch more like I think before then when there wasn't Star Wars content, you were just kind of like, well, let me go to the next little nerddom.
Yeah, you could keep up on everything.
And then like now it's a full-time job to just keep up on like.
It's like they've cranked up the water hose on like all of the fandoms. It's like I can't. Yeah, there was times where people got really excited. Like the Snow White one, the people that we were with like personally knew the actress that was playing Snow White, and so they were like freaking out. And she came out on stage, and I was like, I don't know who that is. I know who Gal Gadot is, but yeah, there were times where people were like, or they would mention a comic book character.
Was there mention of X-Men?
No,
X-Men 97. That's coming out, right? The cartoon.
They didn't say anything about it.
I think the last time they did.
Oh, maybe. One thing they did say is they were like, Fantastic Four is happening.
And that's it.
And they're like, that's all we can tell you. And they showed a picture, and it was just the Fantastic Four logo, but it kind of looked like blue fire. It was glowing like that. And then they're like, okay, good night. Or good morning, because it was still in the morning. And then they moved to 20th Century Fox. Oh, they did do She-Hulk. They did Daredevil's coming back.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's crazy because I saw him do an interview basically saying that it's not a reboot and it's not a continuation kind of.
It's kind of like its own.
I don't know. Like it's so like the Netflix version of it was so good. And I think they're going to bring a lot of the Defenders, like the Netflix people. Because I think Jessica Jones, the actress, Ritter, Jessica, what's her name? Ritter's last name. But I think they're bringing her back. Luke Cage, I think they were bringing him back. I think it was the Iron Fist guy, the white guy. They weren't bringing him back.
Kristen Ritter.
Good
job, you.
Yeah. And but yeah, I think they were bringing a lot of those, and they were really good shows. Like Daredevil was really good.
I couldn't watch Jessica Jones. That one, like that first
was
episode,
hard.
was like super intense. I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Is this what you're leading?
I don't
with?
think I think it was starting to dwindle down because I didn't watch Iron Fist or The Defenders, and I think season 2 of Punisher.
Yeah, we watched season 1 of Punisher.
So it was one of those things. It was just like it was getting to be.
But I think
so
Daredevil was like that was one of our favorite shows.
That was like,
it was really good. So that was cool. They showed I have
to check it out.
He's in an episode of She-Hulk, and so they showed that scene, and like the two of them had great chemistry. It was really fun to watch them. They also did Echo, which is about the character from Hawkeye that is deaf.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's her origin story, and she's a Native American, and so they brought out her and the whole cast. And she's deaf in real life.
Yeah.
And the entire cast talked about what it was like to learn ASL to be able to work with her. And then at the end of it, they were like, let's give her, you know, she's an amazing person. Like, let's give a round of applause for her. But they're like, in ASL, you do it like this. And so everybody in the audience did that. And I was just like, because it's just, that's inclusion in the best way.
Yeah. No, I think it was funny because, like, as our kids were growing up, like, one of the things that they kind of tell you early on is to teach kids sign, so that way they're able to communicate.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things that we just kind of, like, again, simple words like milk and please and, you know, I love you type of thing. But there's just, like, you know, when you're saying all done, we still use it. We still use the sign languages, and we still say it, whatever. But I remember there was a point where we were, and it's a good way to just kind of, like, you could communicate when you're not, like, close to each other. So, like, when we're in the parks, we could, you know, sign I love you. But I did it, I remember, over the phone, and one of your friends was like, oh, is he signing?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so it was just, like, you know, a nice thing that we kind of just,
we need to get better about it.
Yeah.
But it was really neat to see that they went above and beyond to make her feel included and important versus, okay, we'll bring in a translator for you. Yeah. And that was just, like, it was really beautiful to me. I think that's what got me, is just, like, that's how it should be done. Like, anyway, I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but it's just, like, it was very impactful to me. So then they go to 20th Century Fox. I don't remember all the things they talked about. At this point, it was supposed to be an hour and a half panel. Dano had a droid meetup. So it was supposed to be from 10 to 11:30. It was supposed to end at noon. So it was 30 minutes. Maybe it was 2 hours. 10 to noon. It was 30 minutes before his droid meetup. This was at the Anaheim Convention Center. The droid meetup was over by Disneyland. It's like a 20-minute walk. And I was like, okay, panel will be over. It'll be 2 hours. So I'm definitely going to need you to stop and use the little girls' room. And then I can walk over and I can go support my friend and, like, go to his droid meetup. And then I'll come back and I'll do my shopping, whatever. And then we'll go to Oogie Boogie Bash. So by the time Marvel was done, it was already like 12:15. And I was like, like, and then they're going to talk about Fox. I had to pee so bad at this point that I was, like, getting angry. And I was like, I just needed to be over, but I also didn't want to leave. So then I forget all the things 20th Century Fox did, but the big one was Avatar. And so James Cameron's in New Zealand, so he, like, zoomed in, like, literally like a Zoom call to talk about it. And then they had some of the cast come out. And then James Cameron was like, this is the first movie that's going to be in this sound and this whatever what is it? Whatever level of HD it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's like, and
8K?
now probably like 24K with gold, baby. He says, and now we're going to turn Hall D23 into a movie theater and show you some of the scenes from the movie. And so they bring out these, like, they pull these, like, huge black curtains to separate the hall into three spaces, because it was basically 3 sections anyway. And they passed out 3D glasses to everybody. Oh, and I have, like, a Avatar, I don't know where my thing is, a glass cleaner that says Avatar, the Way of Water on it. And I was like, I had to pee so bad at this point. And I was like, oh my God, just please let it be like
hi-fi.
A couple, like, just let it be like 1 or 2 scenes. It was 8 scenes. It was 20 minutes. And I was just, like, angry at that point. And they did give, like, I have them here, but they gave us, like, posters for different things throughout the panels. We got, if you wanted to keep the 3D glasses, you could, but if you wanted the Avatar poster, you had to turn in the glasses. Anyway, but yeah, it was 20 minutes of Avatar, and none of the scenes made sense. It was not like they showed us 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
there was, like, here's 8 finished scenes that have, and I'm not exaggerating, like, they had nothing to do with one another. I was like, what is this? I'm more confused now. Because Sigourney Weaver was there. And I think they kind of described it as that she's one of the kids. I don't know. And then, like, the Marine, the bad guy, he's back.
Now I mean, I think when the movie starts getting close, I'll probably go and rewatch it just to see how the story is maybe gonna That's weird though.
It was very weird. And the interesting thing is this one is called the Way of Water. And so rather than like the banshees that are so prevalent, there's like another kind of race of these avatar creatures, the Pandoran creatures, that are more like water friendly. And so they basically ride like water banshees. And their hands are like these big like fin things.
The
Pandoran.
The people.
Yeah, people. What are they? I forget what they're called. Anyway, I was like, what if they change the flight of, what if they change the flight of passage to be like the swim of passage?
Yeah. During the Rise of Skywalker.
Somehow. It was very
Somehow
strange.
she's returned.
Somehow. But yeah, so that was the big panel on Saturday. It didn't finish until almost 1 p.m. It went almost an hour over.
Dang.
It was wild. And
which is good. I think that's, you're getting your money's worth type of thing. So
yeah, no, it was good. I fully missed Dano's droid meetup. I felt bad because also you have to get into virtual queues to do any kind of shopping for like the main stores. And so our queues got called while we were in the panel because it went over. And so they let you in late. Like it was basically kind of like Disney World where like you can't show up early for a virtual queue, but you can show up late and it was fine. So we did our shopping and then left that day and then went to Oogie Boogie Bash. And then the third day of the panels was the Disney parks, which I think is what everybody was looking forward to. And that one started 30 minutes later. We got there at the same time.
Let's go back to Oogie Boogie.
Okay.
I'm so disappointed that you did not go at least get pictures. Because there was like Ernesto de la Cruz. Oh. There was the Kingdom Hearts Mickey.
Listen.
Like that would have been incredible. And then you tell me about all these theming of like the Cars Land, the Radiator Springs being Halloween themed. I love Radiator Springs. We didn't get to enjoy it last time because it was shut down.
I know.
There was no pictures of that.
I have pictures of Cars Land.
I saw one.
Decorated. No,
I saw one picture.
I took like thousands of pictures this weekend. I did not see Ernesto de la Cruz, and I'm really upset about that.
The Sanderson
sisters
mini.
Okay, listen. Here's the deal. For Oogie Boogie Bash, you can get into the parks as early as 3 p.m. There's a 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. mix of like party guests and day guests. Okay. And then they kick the day guests out. They literally shut down the ride so that there's nothing for the day guests to do except leave.
I saw a video of they're like, I guess it's the party starting because it was just everybody, a mass exodus from DCA going to Disneyland.
It was crazy. And I think they kind of like oversold. They sold way more tickets for this Oogie Boogie Bash, knowing that there was going to be so many people that wanted to go to it.
When you were telling me that, I got another annoyed because before when we went to a couple parties, we went to I think 2 Halloweens, huh?
We've only done one. We just went to the one Halloween party where we were potatoes.
I thought we went to another one, but
we went to the Epcot, the pass holder night. But it was like just for pass holders and you had to like reserve it or whatever.
I thought we've done like two parties.
Maybe.
But before the pandemic, it was. Oh, we did Galactic Nights too.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't packed. It would be like it was like they were shutting the park down for just this party.
Yeah.
And we went to Galactic Nights or Star Wars Night, and what you're saying on this Oogie Boogie is just they're selling extra tickets because it's just packed.
Which is just kind of gross because from 3 to 6, there's like double the amount of people that should be there.
Yeah.
And it was really crowded.
So, I mean, I'm glad I wasn't there just to, be upset about it.
Perspective.
Yeah, from a People League's perspective. But yeah, I mean, I think they need to reduce that capacity, especially for those parties. Like if you're going to pay a premium for those parties, that's fine. But
and it was $175.
If you're gonna charge for that premium, then make it where it's not too packed. You're able to do all that stuff because again, the Star Wars, like from my experience, the Star Wars stuff, we didn't get to do the characters because it's a 2-hour line just to.
So that's my
take
point.
A picture.
That's my point. Is the party didn't officially start till 6. It ended at 11. I thought it was going to go to like 1 a.m. like all the other parties. And so when somebody told me 11 and it was like 9 o'clock, I was like, well,
It's over.
yeah. So none of the characters come out to start meeting until 6 o'clock. So the line for the Sanderson sisters started at 4.
Jeez.
And it was already over an hour long. And I was like, I am not going to waste my entire party standing in line. I would love to have seen them. But characters also just like, that's not my big thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather go.
That
like,
Ernesto de la Cruz was like
I know. And
really
I
good looking though.
I forgot because there's so many things to do at these parties. And the way that they do the characters here versus like Walt Disney World are like separate character meet and greets and then separate like trick or treat stops. Here is each trick or treat stop. You get your candy and then you see the character. So it's one line.
Gotcha.
Which is cool. Except if you're just trying to like run around and grab candy, you're standing in like a 30-minute line or an hour-long line.
Just to get candy.
And so the only characters that I really saw, I think I saw Maleficent because you could see like her stage from like walking by, but it was from a distance. And then Sid. I saw Sid.
Oh, okay.
Those were the only two I saw because they were the ones that were, you could just like pass by and see them. I have no idea where Ernesto de la Cruz was because I was over where I thought he would be and he wasn't there. It was crazy busy in there. And so I was like, I don't want to waste my time standing in lines when we don't get to come to the park that often. We watched the parade. The parade was cool except that it was sprinkling on and off all day. So they had to like they have people on stilts usually and other stuff, and they didn't do that for the first parade, but they had them for the later parade because I guess it dried out enough. They had this Villains Grove thing, which I thought was going to be like villains. It was not. So it was
What's going on, Mike?
It was this massive long line. There are hundreds and hundreds of people in this line. It like doubled back, like this whole thing. It only took like 15 minutes to get through the line and get into the thing. But then you're just walking around. I think it's like not Grizzly Run, but anyway, it's like this little like walking trail thing inside of Disney in DCA. And it just had like little sections set up and it would have lights. So like one area had roses and it would have white lights on it. And then it would have red lights and it would have the evil queen like projected onto something. I was like, oh, it was cool. But
so one thing I want to ask is, how do you feel betraying Walt Disney World? Because I feel like you've been at Disneyland more this year than you have been at Disney World.
I feel we should fix that. That's not true. That's not true. Technically, we were on Disney property for Star Cruiser in March.
Okay, well, I don't know if Magic Kingdom
flights right now, brother.
I think Sarah's turning into a Disneyland.
I do like
Disneylander.
I do like Disneyland because it's more cozy. Disney. I like Disneyland. I like it a lot, but it feels like a much cozier, smaller version of the parks. You can knock out.
It's nice having the two parks right there.
That's really nice. You can knock everything out in like 2 days, probably.
Yeah.
That's nice. Because Thursday, I landed, I dropped my stuff at the room. I actually had to like work for I had like travel stuff I had to do. But once I got that done, I went to the parks and spent the whole day there.
That's cool.
Watched World of Color, and it was pretty awful because there's kind of like, not stadium seating, but anyway, I was not standing stadium seating. I was like in the middle of a crowd, but it's high enough up that you couldn't see what was happening. So,
oh, that sucks.
And then we were like roped in an area, and so I couldn't leave. And I was like, well,
you're just looking at somebody's back.
Yeah. I was like, this isn't fun. It seemed cool if I could have seen it. It sounded cool. I'd heard it. But yeah.
So then, after Oogie
Boogie Bash, yeah.
And that was like the Disney
parks. That was a bit of an
odd one.
Well, just us getting to experience it. That was the one we really wanted to see. That panel started 30 minutes later than the normal morning panels did. It started at 10:30 instead of 10. We got there at 9. We got there an hour and a half early to check into security. Security would take like 10, 15 minutes the other 2 days. It took 45 minutes. And so they tell you get there an hour before. We got there late. Because of security, we got there late. We finally get in. We had wristbands for it because of my issue with my panel selections. And then who was it? Dano was with us, and he had a reservation on his. Like, he won the lottery for that one. But because we got there late, because of security, they put us in the standby line with people that had been there since like 5 a.m. And then they were telling us, like, you're not going to get into this. And so we're standing in the basement just like waiting. And there were people that were so angry. And it was like, they were like, we have reservations. And they let people that had gotten there later go in and like sit before they let us go. And it was like, I was like, well, it was cool, but like, what are you going to do? Like, you can only...
Before you go into too much in the parks, I don't want to...
Sorry.
Matthew's asking, needs a limit on... Do you feel like Disney needs a limit on max capacity for the parks? I would rather lock in a reservation a couple months out knowing the park would only be 75% capacity.
I think like on a day-to-day that the capacity is fine. It's the parties that's the issue.
Yeah.
Because they have so many extra things for the parties, and it's a limited amount of hours, and you're paying as much or more than you would for a park ticket, and you don't get to experience all of it because they oversold it.
I would agree. Yeah.
And they're just double dipping, and it makes me angry.
One of the things that, because the park reservations is going to stay
forever.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that should go along with the park ticket. It should just be a part of the park ticket that you're getting, right?
It basically is.
But it needs to be just like, that is your park ticket. And the only time that really reservations are needed is if you're like an AP or something like that. Because...
Well, I mean, people change their mind on like where they want to start their day, depending on what reservations they get. Speaking of which, I got a 5 a.m. wake up tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems very, like, still people are being confused by it.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's understandable. Like, you're buying a ticket and then still having to make a reservation type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just...
It
needs to be consolidated somehow. Yeah. But yes, I agree that I think the parties need to be at like 50% capacity or even less.
Or even less.
Because
I would even go like 35.
Like they could have like multiple week, like instead of just like one weekend or one day, have like 2 weekends and just have limited capacity.
Well,
but again, that's
hard. Is like, but then you're the day guests.
Well, the hard part on that is you're gonna have to staff 4 days instead of 1 day. But I still think it should just be less.
Yeah. And it used to be, and now it's not, and that's what's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No. We'll talk about that. Kind of that.
Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to save it for?
Well, yeah, we could. Well, I mean, it's kind of part of kind of the parks.
Yeah, we can talk about.
They talked about Mando coming to Disneyland,
which they announced at Celebration.
Yeah. And you said on the Mando trailer that you thought it was Batuu, which I was like, oh, wait a minute. Before I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, like that's awesome because they're integrating it. And what we were thinking of making Batuu West kind of Batuu where it jumps anytime.
Yeah.
And
multiverse.
And
Batuu.
East Coast is going to be just Star Cruiser time, like between Force Awakens. So I was like, oh, that's like perfect. Like they're able to kind of change up Batuu. It gets to stay the theming of it. It doesn't just open the floodgates and just have all these characters, but you can have all these characters. And Princess and Scoundrel, like you could see all these characters one time just coming to Batuu, stopping there for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really mess up other than like the ships. And again, this is when you're like really picking it. The ships and the ride, like they would have to tweak the ride.
Yeah.
But it could work. Like Batuu could have been there before. It could be there from...
I'm sure it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
But, it looked Batuu-esque.
I don't think it is.
But that doesn't mean that...
But yes.
Just because we saw one town on the trailer does not mean that it's not the same planet as Batuu, right? Or like the same area of Batuu. Or then maybe they're going to Batuu and they just haven't shown it.
It could be.
It could be. We don't know.
Yeah.
But that would make sense. How much sense would that make if they do go to Batuu on this season? Because that then puts Boba and Fennec Shand in with it as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, that's a possibility. I mean, I love that idea. I love that they're not.
I love that for them.
They're not changing their, like, I love that
They
it's a
said, you know
story.
what? It's this point in time. It's this point in
Yeah.
time. Yeah, I appreciate that. But let's rewind a little bit to the parks panel. So anyway, we get in super late. We're like one of the last few people seated in there because they just like, anyway.
Kind of what we started. Josh D'Amaro was like, I can't wait. He said it like at the beginning of his speech, like, I can't wait. Happily Ever After is coming back.
Jordan Fisher was out there performing it. And all weekend I knew Jordan Fisher was there. I was like, why is he here?
I mean,
why is he here? It's happening.
He kind of like let it out like a while back. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's coming back. It's coming back. And I was like, oh no, it's a joke. He just wants it to come back. But
Yeah.
so, I think, so, and we talked about this, that people, Happily Ever After is really when we got into, like, heavy into Disney.
I think we watched Wishes one time.
Yeah.
And then the next month debuted Happily Ever After.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Because
So it was
we
like
watched
our
Wishes. Because remember,
fireworks.
we went in April, and then May. It was May 2017. This is when Happily Ever After debuted. But that's the one we fell in love with.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like the one that we just kind of like, oh, this is it. This is like Disney. And yeah, I think even the song, like, as far as the show, like, I mean, update it, put some projections in there, different fireworks or whatever. But yeah, the song is just like,
give me that same projection. I don't even care. Just give me the song. Give me some fireworks behind it. Give me the Heart of Tafiti fireworks and the Toy Chest fireworks. And it's so good.
yeah.
I'm so looking forward to that. Like, I screamed when I heard that one. I was standing in the basement watching the live stream on my phone. I think Cheryl was the one that told me. She was like, Happily Ever After is coming back. I was like, I didn't hear it with my own ears, but then I hear, we're in the basement. We're under
Start
the
just shaking.
backstage. And we can hear people like cheering. And so we'd be like, what are they saying? That's like the best news though.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't need to go into the parks panel. I'm good. Happily Ever After is back. I'm set. But then they did, hello, welcome. They showed Mando. So they showed all the stuff that I really cared about.
Yeah.
Before I even got in there. I didn't get into the panel and sit down until 40 minutes into, it was halfway through it. Whenever I got in, I'm not complaining. I was just kind of like,
And so the big thing on the outside when I was hearing is there was like half excitement and then half people like, oh, this was the worst. Because a lot of it turned into that Blue Sky announcement, which is it's cool because it's like, here's concepts. And I think afterwards when we were talking about it, I was kind of saying, I think this is their way. I think they got scared, or not scared, but they learned their lesson from Tron. Like, Tron's coming out this time. It's coming out this time. It's coming out this,
They made a joke about that. Did I tell you?
Yeah, you told me.
Josh was like, and we've talked about Tron, and we've talked about it, and we've talked about it, and we've talked about it, and we've talked about it. But now, 2023. I'm like, you're still talking about it. Give us a date.
But I think instead of saying like, this is coming out, they're giving these ideas. And even the ideas, I kind of feel like, and I don't know if in past history if they've done it that way. Like, I think they've had where this is what we plan on coming out, and sometimes it falls through or whatever. And then there was like a small section of here's our, off the wall concepts. I feel like this one was like almost a grassroots, like, hey, let's put these ideas out there and let people shred them.
Yeah.
This is horrible. This is not going to work. They would have to put it over here. Like,
they're kind of crowdsourcing.
You're crowdsourcing, like, oh, that doesn't work because of this. Okay, well then we'll move it over here. Well, or like they could just like, I mean, that's not the final say. That's not going to, whatever. Like they're talking about tearing down Dino Land. So you have the people that are nostalgia for Dino Land. Oh, I rode that ride every time I go. I ride that ride, and like other people, it needs to go because there's nothing over there.
Yeah,
use that space.
Yeah.
But it's just like letting the people kind of pick the way.
Happily Ever After, I think, is a direct result of
I
that.
think so too.
And the fact that they're redoing Harmonious, they're doing a new Harmonious.
I think that's because it was too many fires. When we went to go watch it, man, it was like fireworks popping off right in, like I was like holding the, you know.
They're like, hey, hold this for a
Yeah,
second.
hold this. Like, it was like super close. So they were kind of like, we need to move it back in a little bit.
Yeah. I'm surprised they're redoing Harmonious. I mean, of the two new shows, Enchantment and Harmonious, I prefer Enchantment just because, like, I think it's a castle thing for me.
Yeah.
And the one time we watched Harmonious was like, we didn't have great spots. We had to like watch it through the trees.
That's the one thing I thought was very interesting is that World Showcase has all this viewing and there's only really two sides that you could view. They didn't make it viewable and like entertaining from all different angles.
Yeah,
like
I really
a full
just-
360.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
So
Yes, Bob, these are Disney World shows, but they did announce two new nighttime shows at Disneyland. And they sang the song they ended with the song from the new nighttime show at Disneyland. I don't remember what it was. Something about going after your dreams. Like they all do.
yeah.
But yeah, I really do think that they are trying to crowdsource a little bit more. Especially because I do not think that there were plans to bring back Happily Ever After. Not a single bit. And I think they're listening to the public.
Which is nice.
Which is great for us because Happily Ever After has a very, very, very soft spot in our hearts.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, for us particular, but yeah.
like you were about to like project, like 3D print a castle for me and like do projection mapping
Yeah.
because I was so bummed about not being able to go to Disney during the pandemic. Like
Yeah.
that's how much you love me, which is the whole theme of this whole weekend because you watched the kids while I could go do this. But yeah, Happily Ever After. You've also listened to that. Oh my God, this thing. Happily Ever After has like, it's just been that's Disney World to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
My
So-
favorite park.
But no, yeah, I think that was the big, from the outside, like watching, the internet, it was a lot of people like half excited because it's like, oh my gosh, there's all these things. And then there was always the, not so, there was the negative, but then there was just the kind of like, what is this? Like, these are just ideas and stuff like that. So,
And they're covering themselves. But we've been spoiled like the last few D23 expos where there's been major announcements. Galaxy's Edge, 2 Galaxy's Edge even.
yeah.
Avengers Campus. All these new lands for different parks around the world. And this one, it's like,
The
okay,
local stuff didn't really get too much because I know the Shanghai they're getting new rides and
getting new rides,
updates
getting
and stuff
like
like
Frozen. Like there's going to be 3 Frozen lands, but they're all international parks. But Dino Land is going to get re-themed. It's going to get just like taken down and redone. And
It's like that's for sure, or that's
no,
the
that's
Blue Sky.
for sure. That was before Blue Sky. So they're going to,
No, I think that's a Blue Sky.
it might be a Blue Sky. They showed pictures though.
Yeah.
Oh, but they showed pictures of the other one too.
Yeah, they did.
Anyway,
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's where people got, because there was not enough separation between this is what's happening and this is Blue Sky.
I felt like it was before, but yeah, maybe you're right. They said, yeah, because they brought off Jennifer Lee, who's the head of Walt Disney Animation, to talk about that stuff. So they're talking about Dino Land will become Zootopia and Moana. Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Which, I think it's weird that Moana's going to be over there after she's in Epcot.
And Epcot.
So,
Did you know there's going to be like a
yeah,
16-foot
that's
tall
gonna be-
Tafiti?
I think that's going to be really cool.
I'll cry when I see that too.
Yeah.
I don't
Right now,
cry
our daughter
much
saw it when we rode the monorail. She's like, oh, it's a big mess. Because it was like all torn up. I was like, oh, babe, like
Just wait, girl.
Epcot. So,
Oh, Epcot. But yeah, so they do have plans to update Dino Land, which they're going to do something with it because they already tore out Primeval Whirl, and like if you go to Dino Land now, it's like real sparse.
yeah.
So they're doing something over there. It's probably going to be Zootopia. Maybe they'll do some Moana stuff. Who knows? But then Magic Kingdom, there was no real news about Epcot or Hollywood Studios. But for Magic Kingdom, they're like, have you ever wondered what's on the other side of Big Thunder Mountain? And everybody was like, no. So they're talking about doing a Coco. I forget but
it's a Coco, an Encanto, and a Villains.
Yeah, it was first they said Coco, which was at Santa Cecilia, doing that little area, and then doing the Encanto, the Casita, and then they talked about that for like a little bit, and then they were like, and do you guys like Villains?
Yeah.
But that's what they were asking. They were like, do you guys like Coco? Like, yeah. They're like, we might have Coco.
Yeah. No, again, I'm putting very little weight on anything from Blue Sky. I'm not putting any weight in it. Like, again, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Coco,
but
a permanent fixture of Coco.
But I think that's really what they're doing is like gauging people's interest in the thing, in it all at all.
Yeah.
Because people may be purists and say, no, nothing behind Big Thunder.
Yeah.
So,
but Dark Park, like the villain park, like that's something that fans have been wanting for a very long time. And they've been creeping in with it with like the villains, like the heavy villains theme on the Halloween parties. And they have like a top of the world villains, DVC lounge and contemporary. And so they've been testing the waters. And I think this announcement was
I think that's more plausible than Casita. And even that, like Encanto and Casita, I think that'd be better over in Epcot. So, and again, just to kind of keep with the whole.
But they don't have really like a South America land.
Yeah.
Over there.
But they could wedge it in there.
But they could put Coco over there.
So.
But yeah, it was. The thing is like Encanto is just so new. It feels very much like a Frozen type thing where like Frozen first came out and they're like, we're going to do a Frozen ride.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I know there's like the whole Chapek likes IPs to draw, but you
need that.
Yeah, I understand. When there's an IP there, there's a draw.
There's an attraction.
Yeah.
So on that, I rode Small World twice at Disneyland. I have only ridden Small World once at Disney World, and it was enough.
You're a Disneyland princess now. I'm sorry.
I might be.
What? There's a people mover
for
rumor?
Disneyland.
Oh.
I might be a little bit of a Disneyland princess because at Disneyland, the Small World ride has IP characters in it.
Yeah.
And it was super cute the way they did it.
Because then you're looking for them.
So then you're looking for them.
Yeah.
Versus like Disney World, I love you. But we got stuck on that ride for like 20 minutes. And it was the same song over and over again. And when I call into Disney and I have to wait, it's that music. It's just like, So I did it. I did Small World. And then my sister-in-law met me up in the park. I was like, I hate to say this, but you really kind of have to ride Small World. I was like, let me take you. And I did. I did it twice.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff that came out, but it's very much take it with a grain of salt.
Yes. So that was all the parts.
Because it was like the stuff the confirmation stuff, it was very much like, this is confirmed. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of, and I think that was the thing. 2 years from now, it's going to be this. Like I think they're, because of Tron, they're just really trying to, let's be more, if we're going to say something, let's be more concrete about it.
Oh, so on that, the Tiana ride, the retheme of Splash Mountain, they have like this whole replica where you could go see the ride. They showed a little bit of things that they're working on for the ride, but no actual like, here's what it's actually going to look like. Just more of like, here's a picture we drew. And they showed us a video of how the Tiana grew up, or like it's really inspired around New Orleans, and showed us a video about like almost like a behind the scenes documentary of like them going to New Orleans and like learning about these things. And then they bring out the actress, the voice actress of Tiana, to sing 2 of the songs from the movie. And it was like, we don't have anything yet, but look at these lights and sounds. It was like literally just 2 songs. Like she sang Almost There, which is Tiana's song, and then Dig a Little Deeper, which is not Tiana's song. It was very strange. It was like, we're giving you a whole section on Tiana's ride, but we're not telling you anything.
Yeah.
yet.
Well, because that's like the next one that it's coming.
I have a rally towel.
But it's just like one of those, it's coming, so they don't want to give anything away, because if they say it's going to be done next year.
Here's your
small avatar.
If you need a
Nick's asking about Galactic Star Cruiser. Yes, no, yes, no.
I've been going
Over
back to
here, Nick, it's a lot leaning yes.
Let me show you something. Look at this beauty. I love her. She is the best ship in the galaxy. And I love the Millennium Falcon, so that's saying a lot. I probably have like 5 things that's Star Cruiser within reach right now at any given time.
But yeah, that was the big thing out of that last day, where there was very much a
Why
division.
did they get this out? Look how big it is. It's not a glasses cleaner. They said it was a rally towel, and at one point they had us rally. It's like a little doll blanket now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of big announcements for the parks, but I think we've gotten spoiled with big announcements, and so there's not a need to. They're just kind of like you said, they're hedging their bets. But oh man, we'll not talk about that. Cruise lines actually got a ton of new, really really big updates. We know that there's a lot of Disney cruise ships coming, and we got the name of the new one, which is the Disney Treasure, which was weird because they showed a whole video about it and talking about it's inspired by adventure, and here's the statue in the atrium is Jasmine and Aladdin and the magic carpet and adventure and adventure and adventure, and they show Moana and the hitchhiking ghosts, and there was another one, Coco, I think, and then they were like, and the name is the Disney Treasure, and it was like, why didn't you call it the Adventure? That was strange. But they announced that, and then they announced that Disney Cruise Line is going to start going to Australia and New Zealand, and those bookings open in like just a couple of weeks.
Bang.
For 2023. So that's really exciting. I think they start in Honolulu, so you can go visit Alani, and then you go. It's like a 10-day cruise.
Jeez, that's a cruise right there.
That's like where Lost took place.
What, in Hawaii, Honolulu?
Like in an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
It was on a plane, though.
It was not on it was the first few minutes was on a plane. So they announced years ago. They announced before.
There was like 3 ships coming.
4 or 5. There's like a lot of ships being added to the fleet because there was 4, now there's 5, and then this was the 6th ship. So we know that there's a lot coming. The other thing that I thought was really cool is they are building out their own destination in the Bahamas. I forget what it was called, but they showed a few pictures of it. They showed Josh Shamiro like on the beach, and they did like a drone shot of him, which I thought was cute. But it's really needed because the current destination or the port for Bahamas is Nassau, and there's like not that much to do there. So most people opt to stay on the ship. So the fact that they're building,
they want you off so they can clean up and stuff.
People absolutely love Castaway Cay. Like everybody gets off the ship for Castaway Cay, and like very few people get off for Nassau, because if you're going to go to Nassau, most of the time people pay to go to get a day pass for the Atlantis Resort.
Oh,
I don't know if it's like a safety thing or what, but there's just like people don't like Nassau. So the fact that they're building a Castaway Cay in the Bahamas, that's going to be major for them.
Yeah.
They're going to be in complete control, because especially with the pandemic and the security protocols and the different like safety and testing things, now it's a lot more. Disney's able to control all of that.
Gotcha.
It's going to be, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be good things, but it's going to be years from now, because they showed it and it's literally just a island.
A pile of dirt.
Yeah.
It's one of Mr. Beast's little islands that they got.
I think so. Maybe they won it on that last. It was actually Josh Damaro was the one that found the key.
Right, the comics had a lightsaber type weapon.
I don't know about not Penny's boat. Oh, Lost. We never played where we didn't do Disney Quest. Mm-mm. Yes, I will not be getting a tattoo. Probably. Never say never, but like I'm so indecisive that it's just not gonna happen. I'm also really pale, so if I did get a tattoo, it'd be like I'm Beacon. Maybe I'll have you get a Star Cruiser tattoo.
Yeah, where you could see it and I can't.
Yeah. So that was D23. Like overall, We talked about the panels, the merch. There's your Spirit jersey that you've got on.
Yeah.
The new Guided by the Light collection by Ashley Eckstein came out. This is like the most comfortable shirt. It feels like PJs.
I was thinking that, Mike, but I'm not going to say that.
I was thinking like the back of your neck, not like. Oh, say no more, please.
Say less.
Say less. But general thoughts on D23. When we were talking about the Lucasfilm portion of it, like Lucasfilm in general, which means like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, was a third of a presentation on one of the 3 days of D23 Expo, whereas Star Wars had a 4-day convention to itself. So the fandom that was at this one versus Celebration was way more broad. You had people that were just park goers, and you had people that were Marvel and people that were Pixar, and like very few people dressed up in Star Wars costumes, which made me really sad. And so one of my friends was like, he was like, he was like, hey, if you see a TIE fighter pilot around, it's me. And I was like, I saw one. And he's like, yeah, that's me. I'm the only one here. So it was D23 2022 good or just okay? It depends on what you're going for. So, and that's kind of what I was talking about, is like, it's very broad. If you love Disney in general, like we do, it's great to go. But it depends on what you're trying to get out of it. If you're trying to get all the latest news and get into the panels, that's very difficult to do. And so I wouldn't do it for that. If you're trying to get like the exclusive merch and the shopping and those types of things, okay, maybe that's more worth it. If you just want to get photo ops in front of random things, there are plenty of opportunities for that.
So I didn't go.
You didn't go.
I would have.
Confirmed.
I would have enjoyed going if there was some way to watch the panels like on the outside, like say if they had a big screen out in the exhibit hall. I think it would have been just as good, right? And then just being able to go and shop and kind of hang out, because it's like it is an event where there's a lot of people there. And
dude, imagine 7,500 people coming out of 2 exits at the end of that panel. It was so stressful.
So, because I mean, a lot of the stuff, like when you were texting me, hey, we're watching this, it was almost like 5 minutes later, I'm finding some video of it.
Yeah.
Either it be, the theater videos or like what Disney released to trailers and stuff like that. So, and it wasn't, I was like searching for it. It was just popping up on feeds.
Yeah.
But I think the information, and maybe that's why they don't put it on the big screen, because if it is out on the big screen, it's getting blasted out everywhere.
Yeah, because they have people walking, kind of like at Celebration, where they have people walking and like.
Well, maybe on those parts they
black it out.
They black it out,
which I think is what they would do at Celebration, right? I don't remember.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I think we, again, you kind of mentioned it. It's just so broad of Disney, and so that there's like a big mix of people. Some of them overlap, some of them don't. So it's just it's an odd group of people.
It was a very odd mix. And then at Celebration, as announcements were coming out and like we were learning news, it almost felt like everybody knew what was going on and everybody was like, yeah, like jacked about it. Whereas Disney is like a very divisive, so is Star Wars, but they were very divisive. And so you'd be like, yeah, what'd you think of the parks panel? And people would be like, oh, it's terrible. They told us nothing. And some people were like, well, I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
It was strange. It was fun. I loved it. I loved every single bit of it. But if you're going to just like get the news, you could do that at home.
Yeah.
And like if you really want to get your pictures taken in front of things.
Well, and I think that's the difference. Whereas like there's the people that are going to be that news. So like, so they're the ones that want to be there first, and then.
But they're going like literally for work, like their media badges, and not me. But for me, I think my biggest takeaway from the end of the weekend, as I like reflected on it, was getting to see people that I know.
Yeah.
Like getting to hang out with my friends, getting to meet new people, just getting to see people was really fun.
Yeah.
Like people that we talk to online, but we don't get to see in person that often. And that to me was like the best part of D23 is that everybody that is like-minded with you, like all of our friends, was all there.
Well, I mean, and I think that's just like any of the conventions is you're linking up with people that you don't necessarily always see all the time. So
it was like going to like a football game.
Yeah.
It's like you don't really care about the game so much, but you're just like, oh, but my friends are here. Let me talk to them. Like a high school football game. I went to a weird high school. We won't get into that. The other thing was...
Yes, Scott.
Yeah.
Also, Scott, like, your Instagram, man, you have the best costumes. I got to stop and, like, mention that. Like, you have the best costumes.
Has this sleeveless Star Cruiser...
just all of them. Like
series going on.
I just saw the droid builder one. Like him and a group of guys, they had the droid builder, like, get-ups.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, man, I was like, another one, Scott? Jeez, man. Like, you need to make me one. Make me a costume. But
no, his stuff is amazing.
Little distracted. Sorry. Go ahead.
You're good now. The other thing
I'm lamenting. Go.
Because it was so broad, though, there were people walking the floor that would not have walked the floor at Celebration without getting hounded. Like, I met Doug Chang. He was standing in the middle of the Star Wars exhibit, and nobody was talking to him. I didn't even know he was there, and I was talking to the guy that was, like, working the booth, and he was like, are you a real big Star Wars fan? I was like, yeah. He was like, that's Doug Chang in the middle right there. I was like, my eyes were like, whoosh. I was like, you're kidding. And he's like, yeah, go talk to him. He's really cool. I was like,
well, but I think that's the thing is, like, in the Star Wars crowd, he would have been, spotted out in a second.
Yeah.
But, and I mean, maybe not, but the other part of it is, like, he could be more discreet and he could see, like, there's an appreciation that he could probably have to say, these are people that are actually, like, in the Lucasfilm, in the Star Wars world, that they're appreciating. You get to see it, and without anybody, saying anything to you.
Well, apparently Kevin Feige was walking the show floor on Friday, and nobody knew who he was.
Really?
Yeah. Which is kind of surprising.
That one's very
he's like a really tall dude, too.
Yeah.
So, but then there were Disney people that I met, too. I met Joe Rohde in the hotel lobby, like, super late at night.
See, I saw some pictures and videos of him getting stopped by people.
Yeah, I guess he was... Why was he there?
I think the wild thing is... Yeah, because he doesn't work there anymore, huh? So he's just there. The crazy thing is he's an Imagineer. And because of his Imagineering, like, he is known... Like, he's a celebrity. Like, a little celebrity.
Yeah.
And, like, that's... To me, that's nuts.
That's what's so cool about it, though, I think, because... They're just doing their job, ma'am. But I saw him. I got to talk to Scott Trowbridge again, and we talked Galactic Star Cruiser. Like, there was a whole Imagineering booth, and it was just filled with Imagineers, and you could just talk to them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like crazy long lines like it was to meet Ernesto de la Cruz at Oogie Boogie. Like, you could just walk up and talk to him. It was wonderful. That was really cool. Yeah. So, like, aside from meeting, like, our friends in person, like, getting to hang out with them, we got to meet, like, influential, like, Disney cast members,
the makers of the park.
Yeah, so that was neat. The one thing that made me really sad though was there's not a lot of costumes, not as many costumes as at Celebration. And I guess now thinking about it, Disney doesn't have like a 501st and a Rebel Legion and a Mando Mercs, so it's just really kind of either small groups organizing group costumes or individuals dressing up.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's it's just not in that realm. Like, as far as, like, at the parks, you can't really dress up unless it's Halloween. So it's not a thing of, people getting dressed for it. Yeah. Whereas, like, Star Wars, that is all it is.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was interesting. There wasn't as many panels this time. Like, there would be times when there was, like, no panels going on, and there was only, like, maybe 5 or 6 stages. So it was different than Star Wars, where I felt like there was always a panel somewhere.
D23 needs a Mouse Eisley.
Mouse Eisley. Oh my God, that would be amazing. That's what we should have done. We had 3 of the Mosh Eisley members there. We had me,
At one
Dano,
time?
and Nick. Yeah, at one time. Yeah, I think that was the main thing. Is just that it was a different feel. It was great. I had the absolute best time. I woke up early. I stayed out late. I made the most of my trip, but it was different from Celebration. It had different energy to it. It was not as to bring this back to Star Cruiser. It wasn't like together as one. It was more of just like you're on your own.
I think it's the funny thing of Disney and Star Wars. Like, I imagine Disney being real pretty and clean, whereas like Star Wars was a little scruffy and
it was very
weathered.
Like, yeah, so it was very like just the show floor itself. It was epic. Every booth was this massive display and like picture perfect and photo opportunity. Some of the places like you literally just walked in to take pictures in front of things, and there were lines. Oh, that was the thing about it. It was just like a Disney park. There was lines for literally everything, and they accounted for that, and so they drew the lines on the floor. Everything was a line. Like, no joke. There's some things I didn't even get into because I was like, I just can't get into.
What did you think of the shopping? Lorena's asking.
It was okay. The big one seemed to be the Expo Marketplace, which is where I got this. But it was just random stuff. There was like Tron merch, and there was Wakanda Forever merch, and there was Ashley Eckstein's line. There was a bunch of Pizza Planet stuff. There was just random like bits of the park, but there was nothing that said D23 on it. Oh, and the Lena Bell, the Duffy and Friends. But then you had to go to Mickey's of Glendale to get some merch, which is like the Imagineers like store.
Oh, yeah.
But then there was a D23 Expo Marketplace crossover Mickey's of Glendale, which is where I had to go get yours. And that was like on the 3rd floor, all the way across. You had to have a virtual queue. It was difficult. And I don't even know where the lightsabers were because I think they moved them halfway through, like the Obi-Wan lightsabers.
Oh, yeah.
They moved them halfway through the convention. But you had to get in virtual queues, 6 a.m., 1 p.m. Like, it was a whole thing. So it was really hot. If you could dress up at you can dress up at D23. There are lots of people there in costumes. But yeah, I had a great time. I absolutely loved it. I wish you had been there. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah.
In 2 years with Mouse Ice.
Well, I mean, I know the other, watching other people, and it's been mentioned before, but having a Marvel con. So then that way they have like their bigs of having a Marvel con, Star Wars con, a Disney con. And that way it's just like a consistent con.
Marvel could absolutely have its own convention.
Yeah.
If Star Wars can, like, why can't Marvel?
Yeah.
It would make a lot of sense.
So
yeah, it was a great weekend. Met a lot of new people.
That's good.
RJ was there, and I didn't get to meet her. She met Dano.
Okay.
But I didn't get to meet her. Got to meet Lorena. Yeah, I got to meet a lot of people. It was totally worth going out there.
Oh yeah, Mike. I refuse to pay for those scalper prices.
I did do a little bit. It wasn't a scalper price, but my lounge fly that I bought that had the bantha.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like not sold anymore, and so they had one of them there at like the smaller booths, which they just like buy them up and stock them. So I paid a little more for that, but
sometimes you got to do it though.
Ooh, hot tip on eating. I learned my lesson this time because Celebration, you know how we were just like miserable and didn't eat. First of all, we ate breakfast every morning and we ate like protein, and we were able to last longer, like not like we did where we would not eat breakfast and
push it.
The hotels have places, like the hotels right next to the expo have places, and they don't have lines because same thing. They had the food trucks out there. They had food places inside this time, but the lines were crazy, like an hour long. Lines everywhere.
Yeah.
That was the story of D23. But it was wonderful. I'm looking forward to the next one, whatever it is, wherever we go. Won't you join me? I think that's it, though. I think we covered pretty much everything. We didn't talk too much about like Oogie Boogie and our costumes and those types of things, but we got time. This has been a busy We had a busy week.
Yeah, we've had kind of going back. We've had a couple busy weeks, so it's nice kind of being able to catch up and just relax for a little bit. Oh, that's the force right there. That's the force right there. Be quiet over there.
Yeah, it might be happening, actually, Bob. We'll see. With such big crowds, is it still possible to have a good time? It is. It's just, if you are, this is going to sound so cheesy. If you are a positive person and you just kind of go with the flow and let things be how they are, people are going to be cutting you in line. People are going to be angry around you. There's going to be crowds everywhere. You're going to be standing around a lot. If you're okay with that, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
If you go with people, you are going to have a good time. If you're going by yourself, like completely, it may not be as fun because you're just like standing around waiting a lot of the time.
Yeah. I mean, if you're okay,
if you're okay standing around waiting.
Yeah. And you might be able to get into more things because you're just by yourself. You're not like getting a whole group in. So I don't know.
RJ, reach out to me. Yeah, there were a lot of people. Lines for bathrooms, lines for getting water. It was fun though. I got to meet Lorena too. That was fun. I mean, if you're always solo, then you're going to be fine.
That's what I'm saying. Is like if you're kind of used to it.
I do not do well on my own. You told me like the day I was at Disneyland, my sister-in-law met up with me. So I was in the parks by myself for a little bit, and then she met up with me and then left and then came back later. And I think I texted you. I was like, I'm all alone. I don't know what to do. You were like, just go enjoy, like go have a good time. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to make decisions for myself. What do I go do? What do I ride? And I made the worst choice. I went and ride that submarine Nemo ride. It literally feels like you're in a submarine. It was tight. I was like, why is Steven not here telling me to go do anything else? How far ahead? Right now, Star Cruiser is booking through September of 2023. But I already have a list going for 2024 at this point. I have somebody that wants to go the week of Christmas 2024.
That's very odd.
It's like over 2 years out.
Yeah,
but it's like milestone birthday stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, but Nemo was not it. Somebody that got in like right before me had a panic attack and had to get out because it truly feels like you're in a submarine.
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh. But it was like 104 degrees. So it was nice to like not be in that for 15 minutes. All right. I think that's a good place to end it. We can go, whoa.
Right here. Back to us.
Back to us. Thanks for being an awesome husband and dad this last weekend. All praise to you for doing that. Because it was fun. It was much appreciated that you held down the fort. I got you a Spirit jersey. I got you 2 Spirit jerseys.
Yeah, that was what I asked for. So
and that's what you received.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone, for showing up, hanging out, chatting along. We will see you
next time.
Yeah.
Bye.